Wa
It's
alaikum
great to
assalam.
be. Assalamu alaikum, Ustad Sohail. How are you?
Yeah, good, mashallah. Look at Muhammad Ibrahim. He's so, mashallah, well behaved. He's waving, and his sister's there as well, mashallah.
So many people here, mashallah, and they're still logging in as we speak. So we're just going to give them a few more minutes to log in. And great to be with you all again today, mashallah. And let's just look at the people here. You can flick through your screen and see the so many people here, mashallah, and people
Yeah.
already joining. And some of them, Ustad, have been waiting for like 20 minutes. They've been so eager to be here. They logged in at 10 past 6, so eager, mashallah. So it's really great to have you all.
Yeah. Have you seen Fatima Salim's chairs? They look so cool. They're like the
No, I haven't.
old
I haven't
chairs.
got to that one. I'm just looking at Nayhan and Zain. They're waving at us. Zainab, they're waving at us. And Ayan Alma is on the beach. Year
Mashallah.
4. And we've got Yusuf and Ismail there. And Abdullah is there as well, waving to us. And Lizan is here. So many people, mashallah. And Amal is here as well.
Yeah.
Wow. And
Mashallah.
Muhammad and Ruqayya are here as well. MashaAllah. So many people. Well done. Great to have you all.
Mm.
MashaAllah. Amazing. Amazing. And still more people are joining. So we're going to give everybody just a few more minutes to join. And just a reminder, I know you guys are all Zoom experts. So you know how to change your name. And we'd love for you to put your name with your year group next to it so we can know how old you are, etc. and so on. And look at Bian and Aslan. MashaAllah. Great to have you here. Welcome. MashaAllah. So many people here. And if you're able to put your camera on, that also makes a difference. It does help us be able to see you and to enjoy being with you. And Iman has put a camera on. So welcome, Iman. Great to have you here. And Muhammad Khiyar has put his camera on as well. And he's like got the whole world behind him. MashaAllah. Amazing. Yeah, great. And Laith is here. Laith is here. MashaAllah, all the way from Saudi Arabia, MashaAllah, joining us. Is he? Is he still in Saudi Arabia? Are you, give
Yes.
us a nod or a wave? Are you in Saudi Arabia? Yes or no? He is. He is. So what's the time there? Must be like 9:30 in the evening. So it's great to have you there, mashallah. And Udayfa's here as well, and Zakaria's here. So many people, mashallah. And it's great to have you all here, alhamdulillah.
Yeah.
And still more people are joining us, Ustad. So we're going to give them another 30 seconds, if that's all right.
Yeah. But have you seen Khadija Main? She's 48 years old. I never knew she was so
48.
young. Yeah, if you look at her name, it says Khadija Main, yeah, 48 years old. Wow, she
You're
looks
too
young.
old for this class. You're
Yeah,
older than Ustad.
yeah.
Well, maybe not. Yeah, great. And look, there are still people joining, and there are people joining us on YouTube. So those of you viewers watching on YouTube, thank you
Yeah.
for being here. Jazakallah khair. It's really great to have you here. And just a reminder, you know how to change your name, set your name up, and throughout this session, inshallah, we're going to have a great time. It's an epic journey of the Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam, his story with his brothers. And it's been like a roller coaster ride for us, Ustad. We started off with Yusuf alayhi salam. He was a young boy. He saw a dream that was from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then it was an amazing dream. And then he went with his brothers out, and then they took him, they threw him in a well, and then he was recovered by some people, and then he went into slavery. And I was just excited after that. And then yesterday we heard about how he went into prison and he was taken, and he didn't come out of prison because he wanted his name to be cleared. Such amazing manners, and how the people loved him and enjoyed being with him. So Ustad, no pressure, but we're really excited to see what happens now on this journey with Yusuf alayhi salam.
Well, I'm looking forward to speaking to you guys. But have you seen Safira, Yusra, Taymiyyah, and Hamza? That's 4 people on a sofa listening. That's like a world record. I haven't seen 4 people together listening.
And look how well they're sitting, mashallah, all sitting together nicely, well done. I'm sure many of them have got their mushafs ready, their Qur'ans ready to be able to follow what we're about to go, because we're going to go over some verses from Surah Yusuf today
Yeah,
as
I'm
well.
worried about Ruhul's iPhone. She's upside down and she looks like she's gonna fall down the stairs.
I haven't seen that yet. I haven't seen that one yet. So there you go. But look, Ustad, I think we have almost 100 families here already, and it is 6:35, and we've got a lot to cover today. So we should start. Let's start by praising Allah. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalam ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. Welcome, brothers and sisters, young and old, adults and children. Everybody's here, mashallah, for this, the third and final part of our story. Oh, I was muted there. The amazing Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam. So, Yusuf alayhi salam, we've gone through an amazing journey with him for the last 2 days, Ustad. And now we come to the culmination, the last part of his story. What will happen? We're so excited.
Yes, very much so. Now, I'm so excited also to introduce our young reciter today, who will be Ilyas Khiyar. Ilyas, are you there?
Now, Ilyas is there. I'm just going to unmute him, and he should be able to speak now.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's great to have you, Ilyas. You certainly have grown since the last time I saw you. Now, you're going to be reciting for us a portion from the end of Surah Yusuf. Can you tell us what verses you're going to be reciting?
From ayah 92 to 101.
Okay, 92 to 101. So I want you children, all of you and your parents, to have your mushafs ready. If you want to follow the verses on the screen as Ilyas is reciting, you can also do that. So are we ready to go, Ilyas?
Yes.
MashaAllah. Okay, Bismillah. Over to you.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم قال لا تثريب عليكم اليوم يغفر الله لكم وهو أرحم الراحمين اذهبوا بقميصي هذا فألقوه على وجه أبي يأت بصيرا وأتوني بأهلكم أجمعين ولما فصلت العير قال أبوهم إني لأجد ريح يوسف لولا أن تفندون قالوا تالله إنك لفي ضلالك القديم فلما أن جاء البشير ألقاه على وجهه فارتد بصيرا قال ألم أقل لكم إني أعلم من الله ما لا تعلمون قالوا يا أبانا استغفر لنا ذنوبنا إنا كنا خاطئين قال سوف أستغفر لكم ربي إنه هو الغفور الرحيم فلما دخلوا على يوسف آوى إليه أبويه وقال ادخلوا مصر إن شاء الله آمنين ورفع أبويه على العرش وخروا له سجدا وقال يا أبت هذا تأويل رؤياي من قبل قد جعلها ربي حقا وقد أحسن بي إذ أخرجني من السجن وجاء بكم من البدو من بعد أن نزغ الشيطان بيني وبين إخوتي إن ربي لطيف لما يشاء إنه هو العليم الحكيم رب قد آتيتني من الملك وعلمتني من تأويل الأحاديث فاطر السماوات والأرض أنت ولي في الدنيا والآخرة توفني مسلما وألحقني بالصالحين.
MashaAllah, Ilyas, MashaAllah. I really enjoyed that. Ilyas, tell us, what do you do, or how much time do you have to spend to get up to this level where you can recite so beautifully? Now, every day, how long are you putting in?
So I do about 2 hours more start daily, but I also do like in the morning before, I'd say about half an hour, maybe an hour max by myself at home to get ready for when I read my start in the evening online.
Okay, MashaAllah. So is it total 3 hours a day?
Yeah, maximum 3 hours, yeah.
Okay, between 2 and 3 hours. Now, this seems to be a regular kind of pattern we've seen with all our three reciters, that you need to be investing around a couple of hours a day. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, you have to keep it up to the standard you want.
And some days when you felt maybe you were busy or ill, did you notice that even after a day of missing your recitation, your standard drops a little bit?
Yeah, like there's like a flow, and if you break it, the flow just slowly breaks down. That's what I'm So
it's about keeping up the momentum.
yeah, it's like that.
Okay, mashallah. Now, you said you recite in a local mosque, is it? Do you have an ustad in a local mosque?
Imam Fuad and Ustad Sohail that I learn with daily. From,
Okay. And how long have you been with them?
I'd say about 4 or 5 years.
All right, mashallah. Do you think it's important, that relationship between you and your Quran teacher, someone who's inspirational, someone who motivates you?
Oh yeah, that's very important. You have to have a bond with them to learn, so you enjoy it.
Mm-hmm. Now, what time do you have to wake up in the morning? Because you're going. Are you at college now or at school? Where are you now?
Secondary.
You're in secondary school still.
Yeah.
Subhanallah. What year are you in?
Year 11.
Oh, so your final year, huh? So you're one of
Yeah.
those people who are probably having those strange dreams about what grades you're going to get. Right. So what time do you have to wake up in the morning?
So normally I get up at like 6:30 because I don't do morning hifs anymore. So I only do evening. So I just get up 9:30 and go to school. But then I'll go straight to hifs after school normally.
Okay, so this hour that practice you do it from like 6:30 to 7:30, is that correct?
For school days, I don't really do it in the morning, if I'm honest with you. It's because I'm at home, I do it in the morning, like when I wake up.
Fair enough. So what about in a normal school day? What time would you do it?
Well, I listen to it as I'm going to school and back. But on the way, when I'm going to hifs, I have an hour to kill while I'm sitting at the masjid before my class starts. I normally do it there. Because I go straight to the masjid.
So it looks like you've squeezed out all the valuable time in your daily routine, the time when you're going to school, the time when you're coming back, the time when you're waiting in the mosque, when other people might be just flicking on their phones and killing time. It seems like you're using it and optimizing that time for Quran. Is that correct?
Yeah, I try my best.
MashaAllah. Now tell us where you are with your hifz now.
I've learnt 23 drills by heart, but currently I'm revising it all to get it back up strong again because I let some of it go. So that's what I'm trying to do.
Okay, wow, 23 juz, but you've said the key word. It's all about revision, isn't it? Anybody can recite, remember, or memorize new pages, but it's about revising what you already have. So really looking forward to you coming back and joining us, maybe as a Hafid of Quran. You think that'll be soon?
Yeah, inshallah, it'll happen.
How long do you think you need to finish?
A year max.
Yeah, Max. Okay, we're going to put that in our date, in our diaries for February 2022. Inshallah ta'ala. Everyone say Ameen that Ilyas Khiyar comes back as a Hafid of Quran. Ameen, mashallah. Jazakallah khair.
Yeah.
What's next?
Well, it's great, mashallah, amazing recitation there from Ilyas, and really, I remember him when he was younger, so it's great to see, mashallah, and all of these young people coming, reciting Quran to us just so beautifully. So that's real brilliant. And look, and also all of these people that are here, like, mashallah, I just want to point out that Hafiz Sultan has got some really trendy glasses going on. Have you seen that, Ustad?
No, I haven't. I've got to check out.
Have a look at it. Have a look at it. You'll see it.
Oh, mashallah, mashallah.
Yeah. So, Ustad, look, this is the time where we're really looking forward to hearing about the story of Yusuf alayhi salam and the third part of, and the final part of Yusuf alayhi salam. So, Ustad, it's really up to you, over to you, and we're ready for this part of the epic journey.
Okay, Bismillah. Let's start, inshallah. Let's get the PowerPoint up and let's start our story from when Yusuf alayhi salam becomes the chief minister of Egypt. So what happens to Yusuf alayhi salam while he's in prison? That he becomes known for this talent, this God-given talent to him of interpreting dreams. And he interprets the dream of the king. You remember that strange dream he had of the 7 lean cows eating the 7 large cows. You remember that kind of dream, and he interpreted it that Egypt would face 7 years of plentiful crops and plentiful harvest. But then after that would come 7 years of famine, of starvation, where Egypt would become the center, not only for the country of Egypt, but surrounding areas as well. And people would come looking for support and help and grain. So we've been through those 7 years where it's really good times. And Yusuf is very intelligent, very wise, and he's saving the grain. He's storing it to make sure that when those 7 difficult years come, then he will know that he'll be able to help the other people who are poor, who are struggling, who are starving, and who are finding it difficult. So if we start at slide 11 there, slide 11, that's where we're going to pick up the story from, inshallah ta'ala. Yep, that's correct. Yeah, Bismillah. Okay, so here we are. Yusuf alayhi salam, he's now in the palace. He is the chief minister of Egypt. Now, anybody who knows anything about Egypt will know it's called the fruit bowl of the world. Everything grows there, and it produces so much produce for the rest of the world. And it was no different in the times before, when Yusuf now has complete control over all this source of food. Now, the king trusts him completely. So he has complete control on how much is stored, how much is saved, and people come to him. He is like the #2 most powerful person in this big land of Egypt. Now try and think back to just a few decades before, when Yusuf was just a little boy. He was thrown in the bottom of a well, left there to die. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala inspired him that you will let your brothers know about what they have done one day. It was a promise from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Yusuf had trust in this promise of Allah. When you trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and when you rely on him, this is called tawakkul. It's called depending on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's one of the most important acts of worship that you can do. One of the things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves the most is when you trust and rely upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You see, anyone else, even your parents, after a while, they get tired of you asking. You might want that particular toy, you might want a game system, you might want to go out to a certain place. And after keep on asking and asking and asking, your parents get tired and annoyed. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala never gets tired of people asking him. Allah, in fact, loves people to ask him and to depend upon him. So we've got 7 good years where Yusuf is in the palace and he's saving and he's storing the grain. He's thinking ahead like a good leader. But then on the next slide come the 7 difficult years. The 7 difficult years are years of famine, when there's no rains, the River Nile does not flood, and the banks of the River Nile, where most of the fertile soil is and where most of the food and produce is planted, the crop fails. So people are now starving. But Yusuf alayhi salam, not only is he a prophet, but he's a person who's helping people. It's very important to use your talents for the sake of helping your fellow human beings, for the sake of helping your fellow Muslims. Yusuf is not just preaching to people about belief in Allah and about prayer and about charity. He's now using his skills and his ability to help his country and to help all the other surrounding countries. So people from far away are now coming to Yusuf alayhi salam, asking him for help in these difficult times. So let's move on to the next slide. Now, all the way from Palestine, you find a special group of people come to Egypt. Now, have a look at this map. There's hundreds of miles between Palestine and Egypt. And in the desert area of Palestine, remember, that's where his family came from. That's where he grew up as a little boy. His brothers are also starving. His brothers and his family, Yaqub alayhi salam, they're also suffering in the deserts of Palestine. So they now get on their camels and they go on a long journey, hundreds of miles towards Egypt to meet this famous minister who's helping everybody. But you know what? They don't even realize it's Yusuf. They've almost forgotten about Yusuf. They think they've got rid of Yusuf. So let's move on to the next slide. So they travel across the burning sun in the desert. They cross the deserts of Palestine. Then they cross into the Sinai area. Then they cross into Egypt. And they go right up to the palace of Yusuf alayhi salam to meet him and to ask for his help. So let's move on. Now they go to the palace of Yusuf and Yusuf welcomes them. Yusuf straight away recognizes them as his long lost brothers who had thrown him to the bottom of the well. But Yusuf doesn't tell them who he is. They don't recognize him anymore. They might not have seen him for around 30 or even 40 years. So they don't recognize him anymore. But Yusuf alayhi salam is quiet. He's generous. He hosts them. He lets them eat in his palace. And then he gives them grain to take back to Palestine to their father Yaqub alayhi salam and to help their village. But what he does is he puts the money which they've given as a payment for this back into their caravan. So when they get home to Yaqub alayhi salam, they're so excited that, look, we brought the grain back from this great minister, but he put our money back into the caravan. So we've got it all for free. But Yusuf alayhi salam, before they leave, says, I want to meet your brother, Benjamin. So when you come back to me next time, you're not going to get anything from me anymore unless you bring your brother, Benjamin. So they persuade their father. Now their father is very worried because last time when he gave them Yusuf, they got rid of him. But this time they're asking for the other brother, Benjamin. So now Yaqub alayhi salam is very worried, but they put a lot of pressure on him. And Yaqub is very old by this age, and he knows there's no point resisting. It will just split the family. So he gives them Benjamin next time when they go to Yusuf. So let's move on to the next slide. Now, the second time Yusuf alayhi salam meets the brothers, they now have his full brother Benjamin. You remember the beginning of the story when we saw the stars? There were 11 stars. You see, Benjamin is Yusuf's full brother, and the other 10 brothers are half brothers. They all have the same father, but different mothers. So now Yusuf wants to slowly reunite his family, and he wants to start off with Benjamin, his full brother. But he can't just say to him, look, come and just stay with me. I'm forcing you to stay with me. He can't just do that. So he has to come up with a plan to make sure his brother Benjamin can stay with him. And the plan is very intelligent, very clever. What he does is he hides one of his golden cups, one of his goblets, in the brother's suitcase. So when they're leaving, one of the guards calls out, you guys have stolen something. And the brothers look at each other and they say, we're not thieves. And then the guards open up the suitcase and they pull out this goblet. And they say, right, Benjamin, he's the one who's going to stay here. So it's a big plan from Yusuf alayhi salam to keep his brother with him. He has to do it this way because the king has a rule that no person can imprison their own brother. So Yusuf alayhi salam, he respects the law of the country. And he has to come up with this quite clever scheme to get his brother Benjamin back. Now this teaches us something important. Yusuf alayhi salam doesn't just follow Islam, he respects and follows the law of the country he is in, even though he's not originally from Egypt. And that's an important lesson for us. Okay, so let's move on. There's so much to cover. Now, the brothers are so upset. In the beginning, they lost Yusuf and got rid of him. Now, in their second visit to Egypt, they also now have lost Benjamin. So they don't know what they are going to say to their father. They're very upset, they're very worried, and the older brother says, I'm not going anywhere until I can get Benjamin back. I'm too embarrassed to go and see my father. So you guys go and tell our father Yaqub that I'm not coming back. So they go back to Yaqub, and Yaqub alayhi salam is so upset that he's lost both of his sons now, that he begins to cry and he begins to cry and cry and cry. But he's not crying and screaming and shouting. He says, I only complain to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because he recognizes that ultimately all power is in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He trusts Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he only complains to Allah, but the grief and the amount of crying he does makes his eyes turn white. He actually goes blind now. He's already very old. He's already suffering because of the loss of Yusuf, and now the loss of Benjamin as well. It makes him actually go blind. He's so upset. Now Yusuf alayhi salam, he is planning to reunite his family. He's going step by step. And you might be asking, why is he doing things like this? Why is he coming up with all these different plans? Because he knows if he just straight away says, I'm Yusuf, you guys better come to me and better explain to me what you've done, then it will split his family apart. So step by step, he gets Benjamin back, and now he's planning to get his father back. So he sends his famous shirt. It didn't look like this. I just found this picture. Yeah, I just wanted a nice picture of a shirt. He just sends his shirt, and a person takes this shirt to Yaqub alayhi salam and throws it in his face, and the miracle of the shirt means his eyesight comes back. So the smell of Yusuf is still on this shirt, and Yaqub alayhi salam has not forgotten his son Yusuf's smell after all these decades. And the shirt has this miracle where it causes his sight to come back, and now the whole family together go back to the palace of Yusuf. Let's go on to the next verse. Now, what's amazing is that when the sons, Yusuf's brothers, are in the palace, Yusuf eventually discloses who he is. He declares that I am Yusuf, your brother that you had thrown in the well all those decades ago. And they are so shocked. They say, Anta Yusuf, are you the Yusuf? Are you our brother? And they are so upset, they ask Yusuf for forgiveness. Now that's people, they do something wrong sometimes. Yeah, we all know. We all got experience. When you do something wrong, the thing is not to be arrogant and to be stubborn and to say, no, I didn't do anything wrong. There's nothing wrong with what I did, and to justify and to lie. Yusuf's brothers at this point, they realize what they've done is wrong. And that's what Yusuf wanted. He didn't want to just catch them out and arrest them for what they've done to him. He wanted them to understand and feel bad about what they've done. So they ask Yusuf for forgiveness. They say, Allah has chosen you above us. What we did was so wrong. Now, Yusuf, what he says is so important that I want you guys all to read it here. He says, قال لا تثريب عليكم اليوم يغفر الله لكم وهو أرحم الراحمين. Yusuf said, there is no blame on you today. May Allah forgive you. He is the most merciful of the merciful. Yusuf straight away forgives them. Yusuf is so kind-hearted, so generous, that he straight away forgives his brothers. He doesn't say, you ruined my life. You threw me down a well. You separated me from my mum and dad. You made me grow up as a slave. I suffered in prison because of what you did. He doesn't say any of that. He says, لا تثريب عليكم اليوم. There is no blame on you today. I'm forgiving you. You know, people who want Allah's mercy and they want Allah to forgive them, they have to be ready to forgive other people. So there's a lot of brothers and sisters out there I can see listening, okay? There are times when your brother or your sister is a bit mean to you. Put your hand up if your brother or your sister or your cousin has been a bit mean to you. Yeah? Oh my days, so many hands coming up. Yeah? I can see that. The numbers are just going up. Yeah. Okay? You can't hold a grudge against them forever. You have to be prepared to forgive, because we have to get along as families. You should be like Yusuf alayhi salam. لا تثريب عليكم اليوم يغفر الله لكم وهو أرحم الراحمين. There is no blame on you today. May Allah forgive you. He is the most merciful of those who are merciful. If you want Allah to forgive you, you have to be prepared to forgive your brothers and sisters and cousins. You have to be prepared to forgive your friends, because we can't live in a world where everyone all the time is taking revenge for what they think has happened to them. Now, this verse is so important because the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ himself said it. Does anybody know when the Prophet ﷺ, it's a hard question. Does anybody know when the Prophet ﷺ said this verse? Use the chat facility. Can we kind of mute them from the chat facilities? Ustad Akhtar, are we able to do that?
They should be able to do that now.
Okay. So does anybody know when the Prophet ﷺ said exactly this same thing which Yusuf has said? Yusuf's forgiven all his brothers. The Prophet ﷺ didn't have any brothers. When did Yusuf forgive them? When? That's a good answer. When what? When he, oh, mashallah, just saw the answer, just saw the answer. Mashallah.
Wow, look at that. First person, mashallah, answered it right on cue.
Run from
And
Al-Noor,
so many people have answered.
Layth
Mashallah.
and Talha. And the first one I think was Asjad and Aira.
And
Excellent.
Hadi has answered it, and Zakaria.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Zakaria is being honest. He said, no idea. Okay, MashaAllah. Okay. Okay, so the Prophet ﷺ said this in Fath Makkah. When the Prophet ﷺ conquered Makkah, everyone was so scared. The people of Makkah were so scared. The Prophet ﷺ marched into Makkah with an army of 10,000. He had his horses, he had his soldiers, he had his swords, his spears, their shields. They were fully armed. The companions were ready to fight for the Prophet ﷺ, and they all marched in. And the whole people in Makkah, don't forget, they had been torturing the Prophet ﷺ. They'd been insulting the Prophet ﷺ. They killed some of the companions of the Prophet ﷺ. And some of the things that they did, and a lot of people don't know this, led to the death of some of the children of the Prophet ﷺ. His own daughter died from the injuries she received when some of them attacked her while she was on a camel. So the Prophet ﷺ has every right to take revenge. He is now marching in with an army of 10,000, and there is nobody who can stand up to them. So they're all scared, and they're all shaking, and they're all shivering in Makkah, thinking, what is the Prophet ﷺ going to do? And he comes in his camel, and he says, لا تثريب عليكم اليوم يغفر الله لكم وهو أرحم الراحمين. There is no blame on you today. May Allah forgive you all. He is the most merciful of the merciful. And in Isra wal Mi'raj, around 7 or 8 years before that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala introduced Yusuf to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was going through the heavens, he met Yusuf, and Yusuf said salam to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And one of the reasons Allah caused these two great prophets to meet, the Prophet Yusuf and the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is to remind the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that just like Yusuf forgave his brothers, one day you will come back to Makkah and be in charge, and I want you to forgive the people of Makkah. Subhanallah. So let's move on. Next slide, please. We ready for the next slide? Bismillah. Excellent. So now the brothers of Yusuf know what they've done is wrong, and they've asked for forgiveness, and Yusuf has forgiven them. They've now gone back to their father, and Yusuf has sent his shirt as a miracle, and it's been thrown in the face of his father Yaqub, who now can see perfectly. So now the whole family is going back to Egypt to meet Yusuf after so many decades. They enter the palace of Yusuf, 11 brothers, mother and father, and when they come to the throne of Yusuf, they go down into sajda in front of Yusuf. Now you might be saying, Astaghfirullah, that's not allowed. You're not allowed to make sajda to anyone besides Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is true, but in the previous shara'i, in the previous religions of the prophets, there was a different type of sajda. It's the sajda of respect. It's the sajda of appreciation. So in that time, in the message of Prophet Yusuf, it was allowed to make sajda to a person out of respect. But it's not the sajda that we do, which is called the sajda of ibadah, the sajda of worship. So the mother and father make sajda, and the 11 brothers make sajda out of respect to Yusuf alayhi salam, and how great their son and their brother has become. He is now the most important person in the world who's helping Egypt and helping all the surrounding countries. Okay, next slide. I think it might be one of the last. Now there's a long verse here, but there's an important question I'm going to ask you about what Yusuf alayhi salam says. وَرَفَعَ أَبَوَيْهِ عَلَى الْعَرْشِ وَخَرُّوا لَهُ سُجَّدًا وقال يا أبت هذا تأويل رؤياي من قبل قد جعلها ربي حقا. Then he raised his prophets up, his parents up to the throne, and they all fell down in prostration to Yusuf, who then said, "Oh my dear father, this is the interpretation of my old dream. My Lord has made it come true." Do you remember the very first lesson just 2 days ago, when Yusuf started off with this dream of the sun and the moon and the 11 stars prostrating to him? This is the realization of his dream now. His mum and dad make sajda, and his 11 brothers make sajda to him out of respect. And Yusuf now understands that was the dream. وَقَدْ أَحْسَنَ بِي إِذْ أَخْرَجَنِي مِنَ السِّجْنِ وَجَاءَ بِكُم مِّنَ الْبَدْوِ مِن بَعْدِ أَن نَزَغَ الشَّيْطَانُ بَيْنِي وَبَيْنَ إِخْوَتِي إِنَّ رَبِّي لَطِيفٌ لِمَا يَشَاءُ إِنَّهُ هُوَ الْعَلِيمُ الْحَكِيمُ. Yusuf then says, my Lord has made it come true. He was truly kind to me when he freed me from prison. Now, let me ask you guys a question. He starts off by saying, Allah has been so kind to me. Yusuf is so grateful. And when you're grateful, Allah gives you more. And Yusuf starts to describe how Allah has helped me in his life. Yeah. So he starts off by describing being taken out of prison. But he misses a really important part of his story. Which part of his story did he miss? He says, Allah took me out of prison. What about what happened before that? What happened before that? Can you write down in your chat facility what happened before that?
Chat facility is open.
Okay, let's have a look. Oh, I think I saw the answer. Yes, Iman, out of the well. And Tahani, out of the well. And Farhana Ahmed, out of the well. The first thing he leaves out of the whole story is that Allah saved him from the well. Right, guys, it's time to think really deep. Yeah, your deep thinking hat's on. My deep thinking hat is on. Why do you think he does not mention that? Why do you think he does not mention that? Why doesn't he say, Allah was so kind to me when he took me out of the well? Wow, I just saw the right answer straight away. I just saw the right answer.
So many people have answered, Ustad, with the right answer there. Amazing.
Tahani, you are thinking so deeply. Year 8 and Amani, not to shame his brothers. Excellent. You know, when somebody asks you for forgiveness, if you forgive them, part of good manners is never to remind them about what they have done. So maybe your brother or your sister or your cousin does something wrong to you and you forgive them, but then you can't turn around to them next week and say, oh, you remember when you did that to me? Don't think I've forgotten. That's not forgiveness. Yusuf never embarrasses his brothers again by saying, do you guys remember what you did to me when I was a little kid? You beat me up and you threw me in the well and left me for dead. Don't think I've forgotten that. He never ever says that. Because true forgiveness from the heart means you do not remind people of what they've done is wrong. So Yusuf now says, Allah was so kind to me when he freed me from prison and brought you all from the desert after Shaitan had made rivalry between us. Indeed, my Lord is subtle in fulfilling whatever he will. Surely he alone is the all-knowing, all-wise. He is so grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And now they live happily ever after as a family in Egypt. And that's the reason why when Musa alayhi salam, many centuries later comes as a prophet, they are in Egypt. It all goes back to the time of Yusuf alayhi salam. So that's the end of the story for us now. But we've covered so much of important lessons that I want to do a quick recap of those lessons. Now, some of the scholars say there's more than 100 lessons from this story. We can't cover all 100 lessons. But one very important lesson which I want you to learn from this surah is this verse. It's when Yusuf says, فَإِنَّهُ مَن يَتَّقِي وَيَصْبِرُ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُضِيعُ أَجْرَ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. فَإِنَّهُ مَن يَتَّقِي وَيَصْبِرُ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُضِيعُ أَجْرَ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. Surely whoever is mindful of Allah, whoever has taqwa of Allah and is patient, then certainly Allah never wastes the reward of the good doers. These are the two most important secrets to being successful in life. One of them is to have taqwa, fear of Allah. Yusuf, when he has the chance to do something haram, he runs away. He doesn't at all want to be tempted by the haram. That's what's called taqwa. Maybe you're on your computer screen, some pop-up image comes, it's not very nice, and maybe you're tempted to look at it. But you need to have taqwa. You need to close it down and say, astaghfirullah, I'm not going to look at that. Or maybe you've got a chance to do something wrong. And maybe even you're slightly tempted to do that wrong thing. But you say, no, this is haram. Allah does not like it. Allah will be angered by this. I'm going to avoid it and go the other direction. This is taqwa. And the second thing you need is patience. Yusuf has so much patience. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to test you. Allah is going to put important challenges in your life. He's going to make things maybe a little bit difficult for you to test you. In that time, you need patience. So you need, number one, taqwa, fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to avoid doing the haram. And the second thing is you need patience. You need to have trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He will always look after you. Now, I wish we had another week to go through those hundreds of lessons, but we don't. At this moment, we need to stop the story because we've got that exciting quiz coming. But I wonder, Ustad Akhtar, if you've got time, if anybody else wants to share maybe one or two of their thoughts from the story of Yusuf alayhi salam.
Yeah, great idea. Let's have you, if you've got something you want to share, raise your hand and we'll ask you to come off mute. And you can share briefly one of the lessons or something from the story.
What do you think you've learned from the story of Yusuf alayhi salam?
Yep, and give me a second. And we've just come off mute with Safira, Yusra. What would you like to share?
I would like to share that I think that's a very amazing story, and I think that it's really amazing how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala helped him in so much and how all those miracles happened. But I think it's also amazing that he's able to interpret dreams.
Yeah, amazing.
Allah, that's such a lovely start. Let's hear another comment. What have you learned?
Mashallah. Let's hear from Laith and Talha. Should have a message to unmute. There you go.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead, Laith.
I learned it's you shouldn't make people feel bad, and you should always forgive them first, so Allah will be very happy with you.
Oh, mashallah. What a lovely lesson from that story. Mashallah. Do we have time for another one?
Yeah, we're gonna get to one more, and let's see if we can hear Adila. I think I pronounced your name right.
The part I like in the story was when the miracles happened.
Oh, mashallah. We all love miracles. Mashallah, mashallah.
Yeah, amazing. And thank you all for joining and giving us all of that feedback and those wonderful messages. Now, Ustad, we're about to get to almost our favorite bit, which is the quiz. So I hope you're all ready for some questions. But before we do that, I've seen we've got some adults in the room, and we do want to share with them an upcoming program that we have for adults that's there to support them. And this program, inshallah, which we'll be showing on your screen in a second, it is to support your Quran in becoming fluent in reciting the Quran. This is an online Zoom program that we're going to be doing next month, inshallah, on Saturday, and that will be at 6:30. And we'll send you out this little flyer on the Telegram group. So if you're, as parents, subscribe to the Storytime Telegram group, you'll get this. This will be an interactive session, Ustad, that we're going to do. Do you want to share a little bit about what the purpose of this is?
Yeah. Now, what we've mentioned over and over again, that our purpose in setting up these sessions is to ensure that every single Muslim child is a fluent reciter of the Quran. We do not expect every child to be a hafid of Quran like Anas, Abu Bakr, and inshallah like Ilyas will be. Even the companions of the Prophet ﷺ, they were not at all huffaz of Quran. But everyone has to be able to recite the Quran fluently. Maybe sitting on a train, going to college or work, they should be able to open up a mushaf and read with ease. Every Ramadan, they should be able to finish the Quran with ease. Sitting at home, they should be able to open up their favorite mushaf and just effortlessly glide from page to page. That is very, very important in terms of strengthening the iman of the child. There is no replacement for being able to recite the Quran fluently. Even if a person fasts, prays a lot, they will not get the same strengthening of iman which they need to face the world out there without being able to recite the Quran fluently. Even if they know like one juz of Quran by heart, half a juz, that's fine. They can carry on praying their salah, they can pray their sunnah prayers, their fard prayers, but the Quran as a whole, you should be able to recite it from Surah Al-Fatiha to Surah An-Nas over a period of time without difficulty. Now, that is a big challenge for us as parents, especially in the modern age where things come so easily to children. They can just switch on a game and before they know it, they're playing in FIFA. And the whole idea of struggling over a long period of time to achieve excellence in something, that doesn't come naturally to many of our children. So what we want to do is set up a forum where parents can receive support in how you should structure the development of your child, what stages you should go through. It's very important not to skip stages. One of the biggest mistakes we find is parents jumping to hifz of Quran before their children are fluent in reciting the Quran. This will create major problems later on. So it's a parent-only session. There'll be 3 very short presentations from one of our parents who's been very successful in this field, one of our imams and our teachers of Quran. And there'll be a short introduction by the Al-Noor Foundation. And then it'll be purely questions and answers, comments, reflections, ideas. So it's designed to be a support group for our parents.
Yeah, excellent. And that's on the 6th of March, which is a Saturday at 6 p.m. inshallah. So we look forward to seeing all of the parents there, inshallah, for a very interactive session. But now, Ustad, let's get to our quiz session. Let's have a look at our quiz for today, and let's see how you guys have all been paying attention. So let's not waste any more time, Ustad. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, so here we go. The first question: what was the name of the brother of the Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam who remained behind with him in the palace? Was it Harun alayhi salam? Was it Benjamin? Was it Khidr? Or was it the Aziz? Was it Harun, Benjamin, Khidr, or Aziz? And you can answer, don't forget those on YouTube, you can answer A, B, C, or D. Which one of the brothers remained behind in the palace with Yusuf alayhi salam? And we have had a surge of answers, all of them going for pretty much the same one. So let's end the poll there and share the results.
Wow, 90%. Ustad, I'm getting really tired of this. They're getting such high scores. And I thought this time I had made the questions quite hard, but they are getting such high scores, mashallah.
Yeah, and not only that, on over here, Yunus Abdurrahman got it right on YouTube. The people on YouTube are getting it right. I think, Ustad, you're going to have to pick up your questions, make them a little bit more harder.
Yeah, I'm going to throw in some questions about other prophets next time as well.
You might have to throw in some maths questions.
Yeah, that would be good.
Okay, let's have a look at the next question. What did Yusuf alayhi salam do when his brothers recognized him and regretted their actions? Did he forgive them? Did he take revenge against them? Did he put them in prison? Or did he send them back to Palestine? Was it A, he forgave them, B, he took revenge on them, C, he put them in prison, or D, send them back to Palestine? And Ustad, if you thought the first one was a lopsided answer, then this one is like almost everybody's got the same answer.
Is it more than 90%? Is it more than 90%?
Ustad is 98%.
Oh my days, 98%.
Wow.
98%. MashaAllah, MashaAllah.
And same on YouTube, had Hayden put A, Sarah Khan put A, Atia put A as well, forgave him. So that's like, yeah, everybody got that one right, mashallah. Amazing.
MashaAllah.
Okay, let's see if they get any harder on the next one. So here's the next question. How was Yusuf alayhi salam's, how was Prophet Yaqub alayhi salam's blindness cured? Now, there could be more than one answer here. I'm not really sure, but let's have a look. Could it be he had an operation? Was it a miracle of the shirt of the Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam? Was it that he made dua and it was accepted? Or was it that he drank Zamzam water? Which one of these? A, was it an operation? B, the miracle of the shirt of Yusuf alayhi salam? Or was it C, he made dua? Or is it D, that he had Zamzam water? Which one do you think? And there's still a few people thinking about this one. So we give you 3 more seconds. 3, 2, 1. And let's share the results of stars with you. And we've got a little bit of a difference here, but majority have got it. Let's see.
We called them out. Okay.
Well, not really.
What are you talking about? 93%.
93% got close.
Yeah, 93%. That's huge.
Yeah.
Now, Zamzam water, it was there. Yeah, but it had been buried underground for centuries, so they wouldn't have been able to get hold of the Zamzam water at that time. So, miracle of the shirt of Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam.
Okay, couple of more questions to go. Let's see if you're ready for this one. Okay, get your fingers ready. 4. When Yusuf alayhi salam was reunited, came back to his brothers and his parents in Egypt, what did they do? Did they hug each other? Did they make prostration, sajda to Yusuf alayhi salam? Did they have a celebration dinner? Or did they announce a national celebration, a national holiday? So did they A, hug each other, B, make prostration to Yusuf alayhi salam, C, have a celebration dinner, or D, announce a national celebration and national holiday? And almost everybody has voted. So we're going to close that. And they did it really fast here, mashallah. So let's share the results, Ustad, and here you go.
Oh, wow, 94%. They made sajda to Prophet Yusuf, but it was a different type of sajda. It's called the sajda of respect, not the sajda of ibadah. Excellent, mashallah, excellent.
Yeah, and same on YouTube, mashallah, they got that right as well. Hayden and Yunus Abdurrahman as well put that same answer as well. So that's amazing. Okay, and our final question for our final day on the story of Yusuf alayhi salam. Question is, let's launch this question. It is an act of shirk to make shirk, idolatry, to make prostration, sajda to anybody other than Allah. Why did they do this? And is it because prostration, sajda of respect is not worship? This was allowed in previous religions. Was it a mistake? They did not know what they were doing, or they were actually making sujood of thankfulness, sujood as-shukr. So number A, was it A, is it a prostration out of respect? B, it was a mistake. C, they did not know it was not allowed. Or was it D, that they were actually making a prostration of shukr, of thankfulness, sajda as-shukr? And we've kind of like split them a little bit on this one, Ustad. And I'm going to give them a few more seconds because a few of them are still thinking about the answer for this. And those of you on YouTube, have a look and see which answer you want to put, A, B, C, or D. And let's end this final question for this final session and share the results.
Yes, okay, yeah. Okay, that's interesting. It's actually clearly the first answer. It is the prostration of respect, not worship. It was not sajda to shukr. This is a different type of sajda. This is when Allah blesses you with some kind of really overwhelming blessing and you fall down straight away in sajda. That's not quite what they did. Although I can understand why you might think that. They might be making sajda of shukr because Allah has reunited their family. But from the verses of the Quran, it's clear they were making sajda to Yusuf, but it was a sajda of respect, not a sajda of worship. Now, what if somebody today says, yeah, I'm going to make sajda of respect to my parents or to my martial arts teacher? No, it's not allowed anymore. Since the time of the Prophet ﷺ, it's not allowed to make any type of sajda to anyone other than Allah.
Yeah, excellent. And look, that is the final question. We will put up a question here where we just want to see how many people are attending. So there's the question on your screen. Can you let us know how many people are watching this session from your family? And we do want to take this opportunity to thank everybody who's been involved, especially yourself, Ustad Sohail, and Brother Habib and family in the background, and Umar and Haroon, and all of the team in the background who have come together, and Ustad Masood as well. And all of you wonderful, wonderful people for coming to our sessions, for joining in, for listening. Alhamdulillah, every day, Ustad, we've had over 100 families join, and we've had people on YouTube as well. MashaAllah, amazing, amazing response.
MashaAllah. But I'm a bit worried because Sephora, Yusra, Tamia, and Hamza, 2 of them have gone. They've gone missing. So how will they know what the next session is if 2 of them have gone missing?
Well, look, we're going to get hold of them, but let us know give us a sneak preview of what's coming up in the Easter holiday breaks.
Ustad, I've forgotten what's coming up in Easter.
Excellent. That's what we want to hear. And
Okay.
look, people have got their hands up. I think they already know what's coming up.
Okay, we have got a poster and we will put it on the group, but I cannot actually remember which prophet it is.
I think it might be Isa alayhi salam. Could it be Isa alayhi salam?
Of course, yes. It's the Prophet Isa alayhi salam. We are going to go through the story of the Prophet Isa alayhi salam. We spoke about his mother, Maryam alayhi salam, and in the next program in Easter, and I can barely wait, we're going to go through the story of the Prophet Isa alayhi salam. But I am going to make the questions so much harder, and to make them extra hard, I'm going to put maths questions in there, and maybe even geography questions. And I'm going to put questions of other prophets as well. It's going to be so hard. You can see Musa, he's already punching the screen. He's so angry about the next questions being so hard. So they're going to be so hard. They're going to be as hard as a diamond.
And that's going to be so much fun. So look out, inshallah, for that. That will be in the Easter holidays breaks, inshallah. And this is our second favorite time. Maybe the quiz is I don't know. This is our favorite time, actually, where we get to meet everybody. So you're all ready. You can come off mute and you can say salam. And
Why don't you guys go? Bye bye. Everyone's quiet.
everyone's
Stop. Next, say no.
Okay, assalamu alaikum, everyone. Have a great evening. Assalamu alaikum.
Salam.